As the economy grows stronger, one would think the homeless population would decline. That's not necessarily the case. So glad you're with us on Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Ken Ackerman. Joining us right now is Mark Jolan, Executive Director of JOIN. Thanks very much for being with us.
Pleasure to be here.
Tell me what JOIN is an acronym for.
You know, it's not an acronym.
It's not an acronym.
No, it's what it stands for is our joining with people in their path getting off the street.
And I was mentioning that the economy finally is picking itself up and getting back to work. The unemployment rates have gone down, but you say it's not necessarily the case with the homeless population. You've seen an increase.
We have locally. There are communities around the country where you're starting to see the number of homeless people level off or even decline a little bit. And I think in this community, as the economy picks up, as the economy gets stronger, we will start to see that same effect. But right now, in the last point in time count, a one-night count that we do every 2 years, there was an increase of about 5% in the number of people who are homeless in our community. And that has a lot to do with the fact that our recovery has lagged a little bit. Homeless folks are going to have the most difficulty getting back into the labor market. They will have been unemployed longer than the average person. So for them, it's going to take more time to reconnect. And we've also struggled a lot with a very tight rental market in our community. It's one of the tightest in the country. Vacancy rates are under 3% in our community, and that means that there are a lot of folks standing in line for every unit. It means that rents are going up pretty fast, and so even folks who are working are finding it difficult to afford the rents in the average apartment in our community.
Now, when you say you do a count of homeless people, how do you know where to look? And do you physically go out with a clipboard, and is that how it works? As simple as that?
That's exactly how it works. So there are agencies like JOIN that have outreach workers on the street all year round. So we develop a pretty good sense of where people are camping. We get to know a lot of the people who are sleeping out. And then when we get organized to do a camp, all of those outreach workers get together and a bunch of volunteers. We map out the community and identify all the locations. We use law enforcement's a big help in this because they're out seeing a lot of the campers all the time. So we map the community out, identify the locations, and then we all go out with our survey forms and collect information on the folks who are out there.
Give us an idea at last count, how many folks in Multnomah County are living on the streets?
So actually physically sleeping outside on one night in January of 2013.
In the winter.
Yeah, it was in January, and the shelters were all full that night. There were 1,895 folks who we identified. Now, we don't think we got everybody, of course, but that's the number that we were able to come up with of people who were willing to participate in the survey and identify. And that is a somewhat of an increase over where we were 2 years before that, about 7%.
And what's the number 2,546? What does that relate to?
So that's the total number of people who were sleeping out on the sidewalks, in their cars, in a park somewhere, plus all of the folks who were in shelter that night.
What strategies do you employ that have proven effective?
As difficult as the surrounding economy has been for us, we've been able to continue to help thousands of people move into housing each year. And that's because we have figured out what works. And one of those things is collaboration. So what's become very clear from the research is that service providers, homeless people, the business community, public safety, we all have the same interest in helping people who are on the streets tonight get into permanent housing. It's good for them, but it's also good for the community in terms of the cost to the community of having folks living on our streets. What we know is that it's more expensive to have someone living outside and struggling with all that comes with that than it is to help them with rent assistance and supports. So we move them into housing, and then we got to be very focused on helping them get the kind of support they need around getting back to work, getting disability benefits if that's what they need, and frankly, we got to work with them on their health. We got to get folks healthy.
All right, Mark Jolan, thank you very much, Executive Director of JOIN. We want to thank you for being here as well. From the Share Warehouse in Vancouver, I'm Ken Ackerman. Make it a great day.